this week? I'm blanking.
They went after the bird that stole the sick kid.
Nope.
That was not. What the fuck happened to Mandalorian this week? Glenn, we're not ready. Give us a second.
Look it up.
Shit. Is that not this week?
No.
Fuck. Did I watch Mandalorian?
They went back to whatchamacallit and helped Grief Karga. Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to CNA Weekend Recap. Justin and Josh coming to you from the Geek Cave. Ken is taking a night off, well-deserved. So we are going to get right into it tonight. And first thing we're going to talk about is the latest episode of The Mandalorian on Disney+.
I think we should take a moment to pause, though, and explain that Ken is out of the show with chainsaw injuries. And while I think he will look great with a wooden leg, pirate style, it's not those type of injuries. So he just pulled some muscles.
Old man injuries. Sorry, Ken.
Old man at this point, for real.
You the youngin'.
Which is really disturbing. Because I ain't young anymore.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Back to The Mandalorian. This was episode 5.
Yeah, I think that's right.
And this was, there have been some rumblings online, people saying the Mandalorian was getting stale, that it was running out of the juice that had it so hot. I feel like this episode probably shut some of those people down.
I hope it did, really.
This was the Mandalorians flexing their muscle a little bit. Grief Karga, who is now leader of Navarro, is being overtaken by the lettuce pirate that we saw in a previous episode.
It's as good a way as any to describe him, for real. He's just, he's a plant. I mean, I don't know his name. Let's just go with that.
Let me stop for a moment. Did you get at least a little bit of some, Pizza the Hut vibes out of him?
Yes! That is exactly what I've been getting the entire time. Dude is food. Come on.
At some point, I expected the other guy to be like, he's going to send out for you.
One of his crew members has to, be able to metabolize him. And it's just, oh, you're a terrible captain. I'm going to eat you now.
And if you're so young that you aren't getting these references,
probably
go watch some movies. Spaceballs, Mel Brooks. Do it.
Just watch anything.
You owe it to yourself.
It doesn't matter.
Educate yourself.
But
anyway,
yes.
Back to the story. So the lettuce pirate is taking over Navarro, and we have Grief Karga. Instead of reaching out to his old buddy Mando, he reaches out to the New Republic. Silly man, thinking that the New Republic was going to help him.
He's out of rims. Doesn't work that way.
And this is where we get an amazing moment.
Mr. Kim.
No.
Oh, okay. We're not doing that one.
Mr. Kim is in it, but we've met him several times before.
I'm just saying it's still amazing for me. Come on.
The New Republic pilot that we've seen several times let Mando off the hook in a previous season. He's the one who gets the call. He goes and he tries to get help to get the New Republic to go to Navarro and help out Grief Karga and the citizens there. And they say no. And while he is sitting at a bar kind of licking his wounds from that, we get Gareth Zeb Aurelius.
Yep.
Zeb, for short, who, if you don't watch Star Wars Rebels, once again, shame on you. Go watch Rebels right now. But, I didn't think we were going to get Zeb. We've heard all these Rebels characters being recast or cast for Ahsoka, and he had been conspicuously missing. It was the actor that voiced him before. It was perfect. He looked great in live action.
I mean, he was them. That's the thing, you know. And you're right. He was conspicuously absent, and I think they did that for this moment to show that they're going towards the Ahsoka show and the Rebel show and everything.
Well,
you know?
I believe based on what we saw, he was wearing New Republic pilot gear. I believe Gareth Zeb left the Rebels group and is fighting for the New Republic. So we probably won't see him much
in the
Ahsoka show.
You know, it could be argued that if you were one of the original Rebels, that this would be your natural procession. You know, especially after all the Rebels I'm saying Rebels way too much. In the
Rebel cast.
Yeah, after the Rebels cast kind of like went, you know, their own ways, why wouldn't he have joined up with the New Republic?
Well, this is interesting, though, because at the end of Rebels, the last time we see him, he went to the planet where his people had set up to help them restart their culture. So at some point, he clearly signed up with the New Republic instead of staying with his homeworld. So I'd love to flesh that out and find out more about it. But I mean, blink and you miss it. He was on screen for 5 seconds tops.
It wasn't 5. Yeah, it's probably about 5
He said
seconds.
like one sentence.
Yeah, he did. He had one line. But, you know, you could argue that his people were kind of shunned by the Empire and everything.
Yeah.
And he was an ambassador convincing them to join the New Republic. And had to put on those colors to convince them to come in, you know.
So I'd love to know more about that. We'll see if we see him in Rebels Season 5. I mean, Ahsoka.
There's no way he's not coming back in Ahsoka. I can't see that, really. Like, when they all get back together, like, he's not going to get a hint and show up. I mean, that's just, that's silly. So
when Mr. Kim finds out that he cannot count on the New Republic, which, by the way, that little interaction, we get the, I can't remember her name, but the officer with the Empire that was on the ship with Moff Gideon, who is clearly infiltrating the New Republic. 100%. She helped drive that from happening. But he tracks down Mandalorians through R5, who used to fight for the Rebels.
Yes.
Very angry. The Mandalorians initially, they're going to have to move their covert. They suggest maybe killing him. But, you know, at the end of the day, Mando is a man of honor, and he owed Grief Karga a debt.
He did.
He also owed Mr. Kim a debt. I cannot remember the pilot's name. I apologize. We're going to keep calling him Mr. Kim because that's the show from Netflix I know him from. So, you know, he says, you know, I'm going to get out of here, but, you know, that dude's your friend. You need to help him. And he has this moment, like this tribal.
Oh, it's so good and it kind of shows that Mandalorians are a little bit of a democracy as opposed to what we've seen, like a monarchy.
The founder is a leader, but there's clearly this like tribal council that whoever holds the hammer gets to talk.
Yeah, and they're dissenting voices, and Mando is, you know, calling for their help, and he knows that he wants it, but he shouldn't expect it. And we get, you know, Paz Vizsla, who
Paz Vizsla.
Yeah, sorry, I'm bad with his name.
And but before we go to Paz Vizsla, the pitch, Mando's pitch was, we helped them free Navarro from these pirates, and Grief Karga has offered us a tremendous plot of land. We can bring this covert out of the shadows and up onto the land and start our civilization over again.
Yeah.
And then you have Paz Vizsla, who you think is going to be the dissenting voice, and it's the exact opposite. I thought that was a great moment.
Oh, it was so good, you know, because he's honor bound to the Mando because he saved his son.
Yeah.
You know, Din Djarin has gone out of his way over and over to help people, and he's earned these favors. You know, he's done these things.
And Vizsla's a badass. That chain gun he carries around him is a game changer. But y'all, if there have been complaints online, if you're one of them that says the Mandalorians seem feckless, like that they're not what we thought they were, they're not these mighty, they took Navarro down like special ops.
Oh, 100%. Just went in.
I mean, this was great. And I just take a moment. For a television show, the VFX for this show are movie quality.
They are. They really are. And I think sometimes we take for granted this kind of stuff, but this is a weekly TV show, and it is. Yeah, it's produced by Disney, and they have an in-house VFX studio, but they still cost the same amount of money.
This is Disney, but there is a big difference. This is also Lucas. Disney bought Lucas. Lucas Arts is doing this VFX, and there's really only one or two in the world better than Lucas Arts.
Yeah, it's hard to express. I mean, he's always been at the forefront, and everybody was trying to jump ahead of him.
Yeah.
And they were copying him in the beginning, So this was just, God, it was beautiful.
Seeing that Naboo N1 flying around, it's beautiful stuff. I love this. I love Bo's ship.
Oh, yeah.
This was just, it's Star Wars being Star Wars at its best. And this episode should be getting 9s and 10s. This was a great episode. And at the end of the day, we have a victory. They free the Navarro people from the Leaf Pirate. And the Mandalorians get a home. He grants them on a huge parcel of land on Navarro.
Yeah.
And this is where I think we set up the rest of the season. And
you think so?
Really interesting.
Yeah.
The leader, who we assume is the leader of this covert, the founder, asks for Bo-Katan to come talk to her, and tells her to take her helmet off.
Yeah.
And you can tell there's this moment. Bo has bought in. She's like, "What? No, this isn't the way."
She has started to accept to walk the way.
Yes.
And that's powerful for her.
Yes, huge for her. She had given up on this idea of a grand Mandalorian, culture, and accepted that this was her Mandalore. And so she tells her to take her helmet off and tells her that she walks both ways.
Yes.
She walks the old way, she walks the new way, and she has the opportunity, because she saw the Mythosaur, to go out there and bring in all the Mandalorians, because the founder says we only stand as Mandalore when we're all together. Yeah. We got to go get them and bring them in.
And I think that's great, because what we've seen from what we heard from Bo is that even the Mandalorians that worked with her have scattered to become mercenaries and have just given up on this hope. And she came and saw this covert and saw the togetherness.
Yeah. And
the armorer realized that she could not force other Mandalorians to walk the way. She has to have a balance and has to accept that some will not.
That's growth from her.
It is, incredibly so. And so she asked Bo-Katan to trust her, to take off her helmet and walk through these people that accepted her in the way, in the one thing that completely destroys it for her, to go and gather the others. I think we're seeing the
end
rebuild.
Of the day, I think people just wanted to see more Katie Sackhoff.
I mean, I'm 100% fine with that. She's a redhead now, so whatever. But I think it is her trying to gather in all her people, whether or not they believe in her philosophy.
Yeah.
She knows that Mandalore needs to be recreated.
Well, the founder will not be the leader that brings Mandalore together. It will be Bo-Katan.
Yeah. I mean, I think we know that.
But that sets up the last scene. We have the pilot from the New Republic, as I said, Mr. Kim. He's out exploring deep space, and he finds a New Republic transport that has been hijacked. And we as we assume, it's the one that was carrying Moff Gideon to his trial that he never got to. That's not that big of a thing that's expected. But then as the little robot, which, by the way, this little robot that came out of the top of an R2 looking unit.
Yeah, we didn't know they could do that.
We know what that little thing on the top of R2 does.
It's like, oh, this was always a possibility?
In the last few years, we found out a lot about R2. Those little blue stripes are arms. I didn't know that. Now his little head thing is a floating camera. Lots of things we didn't know about R2. But
sorry. It's really like 50 years of this shit. We're like, oh, they're just
new stuff all the time.
Yeah, sorry. I apologize.
But there's a piece of Beskar embedded in the ship. which leads them to believe, the last thing is, did Mandalorians kidnap Moff Gideon or free Moff Gideon? Which sets up a lot for the last 2 episodes of the season.
Yeah.
Or 3 episodes of the season. Did Mandalorians do it? Are they being set up? Is this that group of Mandalorians that took Bo-Katan's fleet and went to be mercenaries? Lots of questions there. But for all you people who were like, they don't know where they're going, this show is aimless, they have a plan.
Yeah.
At episode 2, don't wipe things off. You're not so smart that you know where it's going. Trust the writers. Clearly, we're heading somewhere, and it's probably going to set up a greater story for both the cloning and where we went with Snoke and how all that happens, and where Ahsoka's going to go.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a great episode.
Yeah, and it's our job to make wild speculations. All right, that's for us.
But it's not our job to get pissed off when our wild speculations don't come true. You don't get paid to write for Hollywood, so just shut up and watch.
Yeah, we're the ones that are right until we're not. And then we're still right, so fuck y'all. But
and we're happy,
it's such a good show. And yeah, it's going to be a really interesting season if we have a civil war between Mandalorians.
I really hope we see more characters that we know in the next 2-3 episodes. I'm thinking that we should see Sabine Wren.
Oh God, that would be amazing.
We should see
Hera.
Who is the Mandalorian that helped coach Sabine into using the Darksaber? I cannot think of his name.
Oh, I haven't.
Big character. I cannot think of his name. Damn it. Anyway, we should see a lot of Mandalorians that from the past pop up here.
Yeah. This is just, it's opening it up so much.
It is.
The Mandalorians now have a new home and can settle and be unafraid. Because that's the thing, they were always on the run.
Yeah.
Every second. And now they don't have to hide anymore. Because Navarro is almost an independent planet because the New Republic didn't give them help.
They're under no one's protection except the Mandalorian.
And that is a pretty good force to have at your back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll just see if this search from Bo starts to bring unwanted attention.
I hope she does gather the few that feel lost. I feel like there are some that are just not going to come back and might be true mercenaries who, might have attacked Midian,
Moff Gideon.
Moff Gideon's transport and, have done that. We don't know. It's just we all have to watch and see what's going to come and play.
Damn Goff Midian.
Shut up.
Anyway,
Goff Midian.
Good stuff. Can't wait for the last 3 episodes of this. So that's that. The other big thing that happened this week was the John Wick 4 killer that no one saw coming. Dungeons and Dragons, the movie.
I was going to stay with Disney for a second about the Ike Perlmutter.
Oh, let's go to Dungeons.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
Nobody cares about Ike Perlmutter. But everyone wants to hear my man, the biggest Dungeons and Dragons fan I know, geek out for a bit telling us about this movie.
Okay, so I've been playing D&D since I was like 18 years old, on and off with different groups. And there was a terrible Dungeons and Dragons movie when I was in high school. I mean, just god-awful. I actually feel bad for Marlon Wayans, who was one of the main characters.
I didn't even know this existed.
Exactly. That's the point. It's like almost no one
Marlon
knows.
Wayans was in it?
He was the thief, so it kind of worked out, but it was all terrible. But they made a new Dungeons and Dragons movie, and it looked really good. It looked like they had everything going for it. They had the character classes, the bard, the barbarian, the sorcerer, the druid, the paladin. I mean, they got it. And the trailers led us to believe all these things. I mean, they had an owlbear, there were dragons, there were dungeons.
There was arcane magic.
Exactly. They even had the red wizards, which is a deep cut if you guys don't know. So we went and saw it. And holy shit, this movie, y'all. If you have never played Dungeons and Dragons, go see it. It's just a good movie.
I've played it twice in my whole life. I don't know a lot about it. it was a fun movie.
Yeah, it's good no matter which way you cut
However,
it.
if you are a Dungeons and Dragons fan,
Oh, you're gonna get
you will be
so
like
much.
this dude
Yeah.
who was like a kid on Christmas morning the whole movie. I just kept looking at him. He's just this big grin on his face. He'd chuckle and be like, "Oh, that! Oh, that!"
They had a mimic and a gelatinous cube, for God's sakes, y'all.
He has been talking about wanting that gelatinous cube in this movie for weeks. When it came on screen, even I was like, "Gelatinous cube!"
See? I just rub off my friend. Well, not rub off, but you know, I do my thing. But yes, it's so good.
Freezing.
Yeah. All right, Archer. But yes, it's a really good movie standalone. But if you are even a mild fan of Dungeons and Dragons, there's enough there that you will recognize it and see it as great. And I mean,
Also,
actors,
if you're a Chris Pine fan,
yes,
this
oh my
movie
God,
was Chris Pine at his Chris Piniest.
yes, 100%.
I mean, it was just they were like, "Go be you."
Yeah, he was the bard who, you know, like seduced people and
Charming,
played music.
and goofy, and
Yeah,
silly.
he was not the warrior. He was not the hero. He was the guy that was the spy behind the scenes doing his thing, and he is wonderful in that. He
the
did
cast
such a good
was
job.
really good.
Yeah,
Michelle Rodriguez had a lot of good lines that made you laugh. She was kind of like Drax from Guardians, where irony kind of went over her head. So she just had some real funny lines.
yeah. She was the barbarian, so she was supposed to be kind of dumb, but just beat the shit out of everybody.
Yeah.
That was her role.
And she was married to a tiny little version of Bradley Cooper.
Halfling.
A halfling, Bradley Cooper.
It took
Like
me
a
minute.
hobbit?
Yeah, that's what hobbits are. Halflings, just different.
Bradley Cooper was a hobbit. I will say the only time I had a negative thing while I was watching the movie is because the Lord of the Rings did such an amazing job with perspective and not having to do VFX to make them look small, they just took the cheap route and put him in a green screen and made him sit in a big chair, and it pulled me out for a moment.
Yeah, it did. It was
great
not
in
good
that moment.
VFX, but you know.
Other than that, great VFX. It was
Yeah.
a good movie. That was just a little moment where I was like,
yeah, but it was.
Peter Jackson spoiled me.
I love the fact that it felt like a D&D campaign because they
He
had
said
this.
that like 8 times during the
Because it was. They had this one thing they had to do, and then they would get just skewed off onto you have to collect this and collect that, and then come back and do this.
And if that sounds familiar to you and you've never played a D&D, it's because all of our RPG video games, from the existence of video games, follow that because the Dungeons & Dragons board games came before this.
Mhm.
So that whole, whether it's Zelda or Final Fantasy, that whole, you got to go do this, this, and this before you can do this, Dungeons & Dragons.
Yeah.
And he's right. It's executed really great. There's this one moment where I'm not sure what the handsome fella that, what was he? He was like part dark or red wizard, but not.
Oh, the paladin.
Was he a paladin?
He was a Thayan paladin.
Thayan. That was what I was looking for. There's this moment where he's like, you have to do the left panel, this panel, and he's marching out the steps that you would be doing in this.
Yeah, it was hilarious because it was a moment on a bridge where it was a track bridge, and he's like, you have to use your left foot on odd number steps, and then reach across to even numbers with your right foot until you reach the half of the bridge, and then it's your right foot on the numbers with your left foot on odd numbers, going across, but every 5 feet you have to step laterally, but not diagonally to get across. And one of the characters accidentally just steps on the step, and the bridge collapses. They had the humor of what modern D&D now is. If you guys have seen Critical Role or Brandon Mulligan or any of that, this has that charm and that humor of these people thrown together in weird reasons and are just like, we're fucked, but we're going to do the best we can.
What did they call that portal gun? Was it hither thither stick?
Yeah, it was a hither, I can't say it. Hither stick. It was a portal gun, basically. Which is an actual item in D&D.
No doubt.
Everything they had in this movie were actual things from D&D. The creatures, the weapons, just everything.
It's kind of like how we talked about a few weeks ago with Hogwarts Legacy, that it was clear the people who made this cared about it. It's very clear that the people who made this cared about making sure this was an accurate movie to the people who love this.
Yeah. And I mean, they even just had random species in this world. You know, dragonkin and humans and halflings and dwarfs and trolls.
Jonathan!
Yeah, and they didn't explain it, which I loved. It was just like, these are people in this world. Have fun. You know, if you get it, you get it. If not, just accept it. Move on.
Yeah. Good movie. Really fun. Yeah. I'd highly suggest y'all go watch it.
Definitely.
And like I said, who expected it to not dethrone John Wick 1 week into John Wick's run?
I mean,
did not see that coming.
No, did not at all.
By the way, John Wick 4, one of the best action flicks I've ever seen. If you haven't seen it yet, you should go see it.
I'm going to have to. He's not talking about it specifically because I'm sitting beside him.
Yes, but it is an outstanding action film and probably the best in the John Wick series.
I mean, they just keep getting better and better. You know, I have no doubt. I can't wait for the spinoffs that are coming.
This is a step up. All I will say is the nunchuck scene. Holy hell.
Super looking forward to that now.
Yes. As he mentioned before, we'll talk just a moment about Marvel. There's fears that Marvel is somewhat unraveling. A few weeks ago, the head of VFX was fired, who had kind of been with Marvel since the inception with Iron Man. You've got Bob Iger coming in at Disney. He sees what people are saying, that Marvel is taking a step back, that it's not what it used to be. So I think he's doing a little cleaning house. He cleaned her out a few weeks ago, and then this week, Ike Perlmutter, who's also a big shot at Marvel. He was like CEO of Marvel, something like that. He's gone too. I don't think they're going to get rid of Kevin Feige. That'd be insane.
No.
But they're clearly trying to right the ship.
Yeah, it seems like Phase 4 is when they realized like they were undercutting quality a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, and had to take a look at who's working. Maybe they've gotten passive, not as passionate about the things that we're doing. I don't think Ike Perlmutter was much as involved in that. He had his own issues. I'm not going to talk about them. But
this was probably a little more than just him sucking at his job.
Yeah. The VFX we talked about earlier, that it hasn't seemed to have been as good quality as it has been. And so I'm hoping Marvel is going to right the ship, really get into the next phase.
We did get a teaser trailer for the trailer for Secret Invasion today, and it looks dark, and I really have high hopes for that. So, fingers crossed Marvel gets back on the right path.
Yeah, I'm really hoping this is the time that they buckle down, because we're going to be getting movies that aren't what we've seen in the past. Like you said, they're going to be darker, and we need them to be on point for these.
We do, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Only other thing, did you have something else?
No, DC.
Blue Beetle. Tomorrow we will get the first full trailer for Blue Beetle. It's rumored to be almost 3 minutes long.
Oh, shit, really?
Yeah, so it's going to be a long trailer. Jaime Reyes is being played by the actor that was the star of Cobra Kai. I think that's a good casting. I look forward to this. Just a little bit of the teaser trailer we got today. I think that was George Lopez.
I think so, yeah.
So, interesting cast. I look forward to seeing more about this tomorrow in the trailer. I'm guessing it will probably premiere during the national championship game tomorrow night.
Oh, I didn't even think about that, but yeah, you're probably right.
So that is something to look forward to. I think we can assume that he will probably be part of the new DCU. Gunn, don't think he'd put this one out.
No, not without him being part of it. I mean, I will say the suit that we saw is spot on for this Blue Beetle. Yeah. We had a discussion whether or not Ted Kord is going to be included. Justin thinks he is. I kind of had my doubts, but we'll see.
I think it will be similar to what we saw with Ant-Man, where Scott Lang is the Ant-Man, but we still saw him. I think we'll see Kord in some form or fashion.
Yeah.
Only other thing, they're good on DC?
Not on DC, no.
Okay. We have some cons. CNA has some cons coming up, so stay tuned for more news on that. Lots of good cons coming up in the next several months, so we'll have more on that later. But stay tuned to our social media, and here as well, we'll tell you about it. And we say it every week. It's a great time to be a nerd and be alive. Go out there and consume something geeky, nerdy. And as always, come back here to CNA to talk to us about it.
Please comment and get involved.
See you next week. Excelsior.
Complete nerve authority.